Shazam!
Oh, okay.
See what I did there?
Yeah, no explosions. So.
Yeah, right. This is Neon. I'm here with Geeky Sparkles, and we just got back from seeing Shazam this afternoon. Now, we're a little late because we were in Florida last week.
Right.
So we did not have a chance to see Shazam over the weekend, but we went the first chance we did have.
Right.
Which was today.
Yes, and now there was only us and one other person in the theater, but it was also like 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
It was like on
a Tuesday.
Yeah.
The trailers leading up to it were pretty boring. However, I was excited to see Godzilla.
Yeah, Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
We're all like, yes!
Awesome.
And the guy behind us probably thinks we're nuts. I don't really
care. Yeah, the trailers were boring. They were really boring this time. But Shazam itself, so we're going to try to keep the spoilers to a minimum.
Yeah, I'm looking at you.
Yeah, there are some post-credit scenes that you will want to check out.
Make sure you stay for those.
There are two. But we're just going to talk about, our impressions of the movie. We're going to talk about its Rotten Tomatoes score, and we're going to talk about the sequel
that they announced today.
That there aren't a lot of details about.
It was today.
Yeah, I think they just announced it today. So, thoughts on Shazam Geeky? Go.
Oh, I liked it. It was good. I mean, I liked it better than Captain Marvel.
I think that should be the title of the video. Shazam was more fun than Captain Marvel.
Now, me personally, I still like Wonder Woman and Aquaman better, but this was definitely after them. Up there.
Yeah, it was good. It was solid. It was fun.
It was funny. It was really funny.
A funny movie. It did have some dark parts in it that I guess that I wasn't quite prepared because the trailer.
Oh, I knew there were some parts in it. Spoiled that.
Yeah, but the commercials, the trailers, it made it look like it was kind of a really goofy, big-esque movie. But there were some really dark parts in it. So just be aware if you're taking little kids, there are some parts that might freak them out.
Yeah, my daughter, she's 11 and she watches stuff all the time, and she actually was averting her eyes on a couple things.
Yeah.
So, but it was funny. It was good. This doesn't ruin anything, but the Santa Claus at the end's glorious.
Oh my God, yeah, Santa Claus.
I'm not gonna ruin. That doesn't ruin anything. I'm just saying the Santa Claus at the end's glorious. But it is. I think they cast it pretty well.
Yeah, I think the casting's really good. It was bugging me, and you reminded me where the kid who plays Billy Batson. I'm like, where have I seen that kid before?
Oh, I didn't. Actually, our daughter did.
Yeah.
Boo did, because she knows exactly where he's from. She's excited.
As soon as we started watching it, I'm like, I know this kid. Where do I know this kid from? And Andy Mack.
Yeah, Andy Mack. Our daughter's like, oh, it's so-and-so on Andy Mack, because she watches that all the time.
Yeah, so. He's the one with Cyrus's kid's friend. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the kid's on Andy Mack, and I'm like, I know, I've seen this kid before. That's because our daughter watches Andy Mack all the time.
Which is funny, because it's a Disney show.
Yeah,
but
so working for the competition,
I thought that was pretty funny, actually. But yeah, so we have Zach Levi, and I really like him in this. I used to watch Chuck all the time. I mean, I love Chuck, so I think this is fun.
Yeah, he was good. I mean, it was. Now, I will say that I expected Zach Levi to get more screen time than he actually did.
Really?
Yeah, he wasn't actually. I don't think he was on screen as much as Billy Batson.
Well, this is an origin thing too.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
But he did a really good job of being convincing as a young teenage kid in an adult body.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that.
It was like big. It really was.
Well, that was the first comparison we kind of drew to it based on the trailers. Was this looks like big because you have the kid that becomes the adult. And then you've got, the friend, and they're trying to, get like an apartment. They had the scene where they're trying to get the lair and all that. And it reminded me of Big. And they had a nod to Big in the movie.
Yeah, we won't ruin it for you.
We won't ruin it for you, but there is definitely a wink and a nod to Big in the movie.
Mm-hmm. You won't miss it, trust me.
So they were totally aware of what they were doing. But yeah, I think it's pretty good. I was kind of worried that maybe this one, because it was New Line Cinema 2, would not be connected to the DCEU, but it clearly is part of the DCEU.
Oh, yeah.
They make it very clear early on that, Batman,
and
Superman.
They make it clear the whole way through.
Yeah, and especially the end credits, they make it clear. But there are several unexpected, I think, nods to the DCEU. To Justice League characters throughout the movie that I thought were kind of clever. So
don't want to ruin it though.
Don't want to ruin it, but no, I overall I'd give it an A-.
Yeah,
maybe.
it was good.
It was good. Definitely. I mean, look,
it was fun. It was a movie that was fun. It wasn't
fun.
Taking itself too seriously. It wasn't pushing agendas. It was just a good movie that happened to be very diverse.
Yeah, so we could talk about that because that comes up all the time. There's a lot of talk about Captain Marvel Marvel's Captain Marvel, no, not DC's Captain Marvel, but Marvel's Captain Marvel, being this diverse movie, there was a hell of a lot more diversity in Shazam.
And it wasn't like the leading, what they lead with for everything.
No, it was never even really mentioned in any of the marketing or anything. It just happened to be
like the good old days. When you watch a movie that have a lot of diverse characters in it, because they usually did, and no one made it about that. It was just about a good movie.
Yeah.
That's what this was. And it was more diverse than other movies. I mean, the foster kids are all different ethnicities, genders. The Hispanic kid, he makes the comment and thing about he's not into women at one point.
Yeah,
I'm not going to ruin it for you.
Yeah.
So I mean, they clearly hit the foster parents, and they clearly hit a big range in diversity. And I just think it's funny because that wasn't what they were about. They were about a good story, and it shows.
Yeah, again, I kind of have the same.
First.
Yeah, it was story first. And if you hadn't even brought up, of course the media brings it up, but if you hadn't brought up diversity, I don't think anybody would have.
I only paid attention because people were going on about it a few days ago.
Yeah, I wouldn't
even thought of it because
thought twice about it.
It's just like, that's a bunch of kids,
Yeah.
Because until recently, no one ever really thought about it too much. You didn't have to, because that was, there's a movie with a bunch of people different, there's a bunch of diversity, and that's normal life, and that's what most people deal with in everyday life. They don't even think that, I'm pretty diverse. Look at my friends list. They don't.
Yeah, right.
That's how people behave. They just like, I'm friends with so and so and so and so. Oh yeah, and they happen to be diverse.
Do we have one of each kind in this movie? Do we have enough of each kind of person? In this movie.
It was a good movie because it was a good movie.
Yeah, it was good, and of course, it's Philadelphia, so it's going to be a pretty diverse.
It is.
Pretty diverse
I
area.
liked it. It was good.
I thought it was a good movie. I thought it was solid. I'm looking forward to a sequel. It's a crowd pleaser. It didn't feel like... Now, I know you like Captain Marvel more than I did. I thought Captain Marvel...
But I still thought it wasn't like, It was okay. It was passable.
It was passable. Captain Marvel's passable. This movie was actually fun. I don't feel like... there weren't any parts that dragged for me in this movie. And it was pretty long.
Well, the thing about Captain Marvel was... It was like she was like not the lead character in a movie. And when she was on screen, it was very stiff most of the time. It really was.
Yeah, Captain Marvel, she needed the ensemble to carry her because Brie Larson just couldn't... I don't think she's right for Captain Marvel.
Well, and then yesterday they had the official clip come out, and it was funny because when I watched it, there was literally like only a couple thousand people.
Oh, for Endgame, yeah.
Yeah, only a couple thousand people saw it, and I was one of the first people to mention it. But she's just like going on about, well, why, we're not going to win. What are we going to win? She's like, well, that's because you didn't have me, or whatever she says exactly.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, what the heck? Here we go. But it was funny because I was one of the first people to notice that, and now everybody's like running with it. So I think it's funny.
Oh god, so we're too. Speaking of the boring trailers before the movie, they had, what was it called, Long Shot. The one where she's the running for president or whatever, Charlize Theron. And a lot of people have mentioned that they think Charlize Theron would have made a better Carol Danvers, and I have to agree with that.
I think so too.
I think because she's actually got range. Brie Larson doesn't have any range.
It's pretty obvious too in the Captain Marvel teaser thing that when you have Scarlett Johansson with her. Scarlett Johansson is so much more believable. Yeah. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just saying, just an observation. Like I don't know. Anyway, we're not going to make it about that.
Anyway, Zach Levi was perfectly cast.
He was great.
He clearly enjoys the role.
I always liked him though. So.
I'm not really sure how it did at the box office. It didn't do gangbusters.
No, it did pretty well actually for a DCEU. It did pretty well.
Yeah, and Shazam hasn't been relevant to mainstream pop culture since the 1970s. Mm-hmm. So I didn't expect a lot of people to turn out for this movie.
But they did. A lot of people like it. It's getting good word of mouth too. So
speaking of which, you go out to Rotten Tomatoes and it does seem to be a crowd pleaser. We're talking 91% of critics and 90% of
that's really good
audience score if it's legit. Now again, Rotten Tomatoes is up for debate. We've done many videos about Rotten Tomatoes. But
let's see. It probably is legit. Where is the romp? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I have to agree with this. The last couple, I didn't like the DCEU at first. I didn't like Man of Steel. I didn't like what they did to Superman. I didn't really care for Batman versus Superman very much. Lukewarm on Justice League. I thought it had some good parts, but also had some parts that didn't make a lot of sense. However, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and now Shazam, have sort of made me into a DCEU believer. Like I have more hope for my interest in the DCEU is on the upswing, whereas and the MCU after Endgame, given what is in the pipeline, I think I'm going to be losing interest in the MCU based on, even today, we did a video on, how the X-Men aren't even going to be in the MCU for the next, 5-10 years, however long it's going to take. And they've got these D-list movies coming out, but the DCEU, it's like they're really going to start ramping up.
Right.
The
well,
movies.
like this person said, it took DC a while, but they finally understand what audiences want, superheroes they can relate to. Shazam delivers that in spades, which I'd agree with.
Yeah, I think Shazam, in some ways, and it's the same with Aquaman. Aquaman and Shazam, it's almost like they figured out the Marvel formula, because there's that really good balance of action and comedy, drama, and everyday relatability. And, those things were really missing from, like, Man of Steel, which took itself entirely too seriously.
Yeah.
Batman versus Superman, same thing. It was way, way, way serious. These movies sort of figured out what works, for Marvel, which is people want, they want to laugh, they want to cry,
right?
they want to
relatable.
cheer people on.
This is basically a lesson. I keep saying over and over again, and we're talking on videos. You want people to want to be part of your work. Make characters that are relatable, because that's what people connect to. Make characters people that feel like they can connect to, and you'll do well.
Yeah.
And that's just, and here I was going to compare it to the Captain Marvel. I don't know what their scores are. 59% audience. 78%, the reviewers.
Look at the audience score, 79,000.
And it's still 59%.
Yeah, that's just a cluster. Captain Marvel, regardless of what you think of the movie, that is a lesson in what not to do when marketing a movie. Captain Marvel was a colossal cluster. I mean, it was a mess.
So now we're going to go look at this?
Yeah, so they're already talking sequel for Shazam, which is good because they set it up for a sequel. Again, there are 2 post-credit scenes. Sit through those, especially if you're a DC Comics fan. One of them in particular is going to resonate with you. So Shazam writer Henry Gayden will return to write the sequel, exclusive from The Wrap. Screenplay writer Henry Gayden has been tapped to write the superhero movie sequel for DC and New Line. An individual told The Wrap the writer has a busy slate, also adapting Last Human. Don't really care, but it's Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, which should be pretty funny. Shazam was #1 film worldwide this weekend, overperforming expectations with a domestic gross of $56.8 million, inclusive of 3.3 million previews, and 102.3 internationally, for a worldwide figure of 159 million. That's not bad for a D-list.
And it didn't
character.
have a 700. I don't think it had a 700 million budget.
No.
I'm just saying.
No.
It was a relatively low budget.
Yeah, it's the 3rd hit in a row for Warner Brothers and DC after Wonder Woman and Aquaman. The crowd-pleasing Shazam earned an A cinema score.
It should. It's really good.
Yeah, and a stellar 92% certified fresh Rotten Tomatoes score. And they just talk about the movie. And this should worry Disney a little bit, because I think they got a little overconfident. They were like, well, the DC movies kind of suck. The audiences don't really like them. Batman versus Superman was divisive. Justice League was divisive. Man of Steel definitely was divisive. And they're like, well, we don't really have anything to worry about. Yeah, they pulled off Wonder Woman, but that was a one-off. Then here comes Aquaman. Nobody expected Aquaman to make the kind of money that it made. And Shazam's not making anywhere near Aquaman money, but it's a good movie. And I think if they do a sequel, it's going to wind up being, where the sequel is going to outdo the
Aquaman
first
did
film.
well, but it was a slow burn also. Same as Wonder Woman.
Word of mouth.
Yeah, and I think that's what's going to happen with this one, too. Even though I'm really excited about Wonder Woman 84. I'm very excited about that. But you said about relatable characters, and you liked it because you said about you.
Okay, we've talked a little bit before on Clownfish TV. We'll have to do more episodes like talking about like our lives. But I was kind of trouble when I was a teenager.
He was a dick.
I was a complete
I didn't know
dick.
him then, but I've heard.
But Billy Batson, if you want to know what Neon was like when he was a teenager, Billy Batson's pretty close. I was actually watching this. Yeah, I was a little bit mouthier than he was, but again, it takes place in Philadelphia. I didn't live too far from Philadelphia, and that kind of just, I don't know. There's a lot of things about the character I could relate to, and he reminded me of myself.
Yeah,
when I was younger.
And his birth mom reminds him of his mom too. He wasn't going to bring that up, but I will.
Oh, I wasn't going to bring it up.
There's so many similarities.
But yeah, it's so weird. Like, I was watching it and I'm like, man, because I wound up in like alternative ed and all kinds of craziness when I was a teenager.
Yeah, but that was well.
I wasn't. That's a whole nother story. I wasn't that bad. But I got into trouble.
No, you were the good kid in alternative ed.
It's comparative.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm
Right.
saying.
Anyway, but yeah, again, relatable characters, and it was a good movie. It was a good movie, and I'm looking forward to a sequel. I hope they do a couple more sequels, and I'm glad that they tied into the DCEU. I was kind of worried that this one would be kind of a standalone, because the Joker movie that's coming out, which I'm really looking forward to the Joker movie, but it's supposed to be a standalone. Right. It's not going to tie into the rest of the DCEU, which makes sense because they already got a Joker. I don't like that Joker, but we're getting another one. So I don't know. Final thoughts.
Oh, if you haven't seen it, go see it. It's good.
Yeah, go see it. We're not going to spoil it for you. It's a good movie. It's a good ride. It's a hell of a lot better than Captain Marvel, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, it's better.
I think in most people's humble opinion, it's a more enjoyable movie than Captain Marvel. So hopefully it does better. I think it's going to get caught in the maelstrom that will be Endgame. Mm-hmm. So it might get lost in the shuffle. But it was a good movie. There's several good movies that came out this year that were kind of the dark horse. This and Alita. And a lot of.
And next month we get Detective Pikachu and Godzilla.
And so we have a year where we have. Look at this. I mean, how crazy is this? You've got.
I'm so excited about the Godzilla, dang it.
Within the span of a couple months, you're going to have, which hopefully will be a decent American Godzilla movie. You're going to have a live-action Pokemon movie and a really kick-ass adaptation of a well-respected manga and anime, and all within the course of a couple of months. 10, 15 years ago, this was completely unthinkable.
Yeah, this was like
never would happen.
Someday this stuff will happen. The planets have aligned, guys. Yeah.
Yeah. So now, if we can just get an Akira that's not completely effed up, I'll be reasonably happy. But it sounds like they're gonna F it up.
It's not coming out for next year anyway, right?
Several years from now, I think.
Oh, is it that long? Okay.
I don't know. But Shazam, go see it.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to wrap this one up. Thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed already for more pop culture news, views, rants, gaming videos, art videos, and more. This has been Neon and Geeky.
Bye.
Goodbye. Hey guys, thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe. Ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.